I don't want to be a strong, independent woman. I think we have enough strong, independent women. I'm going to take it to the next level. I want to be a mushy, soft, relaxed, taken care of as fuck woman. Like 30 people on my team, people opening doors for me, making me dinner, waking me up in the morning, massaging my feet kind of woman, self-serving, loving, juicy, embodied, deliciously feminine kind of woman. I think we know at this point we're strong. We've got to be independent. Of course I can take care of myself. Now I want to be taken care of. I want to need my man. I want to be wined and dined by my man, by my king. I'm the queen. And I'm relaxed as fuck. And I know who I am. Let's take this to the next level. What do you say?
Equal rights come with equal responsibilities, but not for women. Women are the darlings of society who can get all the benefits of equality, but barely any responsibility. What they don't tell people about the Me Too movement is that it only applies to women. Men who are harassed or assaulted by a female coworker are essentially ignored until irrefutable evidence is provided proving otherwise. Even then, the female is usually counseled and rarely dismissed. There aren't any other derogatory impacts. They are free to make counter-accusations, and that puts the men on the defensive and impacts their careers and future no matter the outcome. Even if proven the female was the aggressor, if a counter-allegation is made, he's still finished in that business. Now, fewer women are being hired by large companies because they know that apart from the quotas that they have to fill to keep the shareholders happy, they don't have much to gain from hiring women. But did women bring this on to themselves? Is this a failure of feminism? Let's see.
If you can't force women to date men they don't want to date, why should companies be forced to hire women they don't want to hire?
I don't think that companies should be forced to hire women they don't want to hire.
Are companies forced to hire women they don't want to hire?
It's called affirmative action. There's quotas.
Ooh. Well, I think we should ask Jesus on that one.
It makes sense that men would want to avoid being alone with women to avoid any potential problems that could endanger their careers. And because they feel left out, women have started to protest about this. They are no longer expected to work harder on projects and finish them in the wee hours of the morning at the office. Because they know their professions won't be in jeopardy, people would prefer to ask men to stay late and work with them. In reality, men just don't want gossip and overreactions from women. Women are also left out of the team's private and confidential meetings when important information is exchanged. For instance, if I had to share anything with a coworker in a cramped conference room alone, and I had to go with someone, I'd prefer to pick a man since I understand that inviting a woman into a confined space might seem odd to others. The adverse effects of Me Too are still being felt in the corporate sector, not just in America, but also in Europe, England, and other parts of the world.
A day in my life getting laid off at Google. So I woke up to this really ominous text from my boss, and I honestly had no idea what it was going to be about. So I called her the minute I woke up and saw this, and she told me to check the news and my email. So I rushed downstairs to find out that I had lost access to basically everything. I couldn't log into my email or even check my calendar. I called my boss back, and we just sobbed over the phone because she was also finding out about my layoff for the first time today too. I started getting calls from a bunch of my coworkers and started finding out who else was let go on my team and some neighboring teams as well. But I think the worst part is that it seems like no one was consulted on this decision and everyone was just finding out about the layoffs at the same time. It just felt like a really bad game of Russian roulette, and there was no consistency around who was let go. It was also not performance-based, so it just felt really random. I opened up LinkedIn, which honestly was not great for my mental health. There were so many people who were in the same boat that were both equally as shocked and blindsided, but it did help me feel a little less alone. Honestly, I spent so much of the day crying.
Men will continue to avoid working with women as long as they continue to overreact to the movement and level false charges against them that we constantly see in the media. There's no place for gossip and drama at the office, and unfortunately, that's what most women bring to it. Companies will secretly continue to avoid hiring women because they know the more women they have in the company, the more drama it will lead to, and the more its work and profits will suffer as a result.
This young woman has just learned a very expensive lesson. So TikTok got me fired.
Why did Lexi Larson say she lost her job? Because she revealed her $20,000 salary raise on social media. Her salary at a Colorado tech company went from $70,000 to $90,000.
My employer found my TikToks and really did not like that I was sharing my salary and stuff like that.
They said my social media posts made them question my judgment as an employee.
Revealing your salary used to be a big taboo, something you never ever talked about with your colleagues. But now a younger generation is saying they have no problem laying it all out there. The trend is called salary transparency.
We had $7 cash and some change.
This Hooters waitress shared how much she made in tips.
20, 40, 60. So that was $289.
23-year-old Leah Finley told Inside Edition why she's so open.
It kind of empowers people to, maybe I could make more. Maybe I'm not getting the amount that I deserve.
Salary transparency is important just because that's how you know if you're getting underpaid in the workplace.
We should be talking about what we're getting paid because we want to make sure that there is transparency that can help to eliminate or help to reduce bias, and then that can help to close the wage gaps that we're seeing based on gender and based on race.
Hopefully I can just move on from this because honestly I never want to think about this situation or that company ever again in my life.
I'm not against women getting high positions if they are the best at the job. I'd hire more women than men, but to hire based on gender only is just stupid, and then hiring these brainless TikTok girls is just damaging to companies, which is why this tech company let go of this woman. In my opinion, the reason why many companies don't want you to show transparency about your salary is the possible exposure of disparity in pay among employees, which can ultimately lead to lawsuits. Whether or not she deserved her salary and raise is debatable. She may have uncovered the company's dirty little secret. Men are smart to ignore and avoid women at all costs, and men should avoid talking to women or even looking their way at work. You as men should treat women as if they don't exist and leave any space they enter. Treat all women as if they are someone you can't stand and they make you sick, so you avoid them all the time. Men should never be alone with a woman at work. Men should not mentor women. Men should not travel alone with female co-workers. Not because women are bad, but because men need to protect themselves. End of story. This is the only way to protect yourselves now. A gender quota does more harm than good. It's all about the feminist agenda. Quota is more important than reality in the eyes of the law. The law is sometimes contrary to common sense. I'd rather employ qualified men than not so qualified women out of legal obligation. The bottom line is, reality is more important than quota. The law is contrary to common sense. Men know what it's like to feel like they're a constant threat to women. At any moment, if you even look at a woman wrong, she'll label you a creep. Men are proud. Men will not tolerate this kind of slander and disrespect. This is one of the reasons men are staying away from women at work. This is the reason why fewer women are being hired by large organizations. And they're only doing it to fill their quotas. Over the last decade, and with the increase in the implementation of the feminist agenda, more and more companies were made to hire women by law. Companies had gender quotas that they needed to fill. They had a number of mandatory female workers that they had to hire as board members, or regional or global heads of various departments such as marketing and procurement. But all of that came at a price, and women and feminism are both to blame for this as well. Women have made it so. It's their fault 100%. Of course, men have done their share of negatives at work. Me Too has had a backlash. If a man is harassing or abusing, he should be held accountable. False charges against men should be treated as harassment and abuse, and should be treated in the same manner. Working with women is like walking through landmines. You never know when you're going to get hurt. Men know they're going to get in trouble if they do anything even remotely wrong. Women don't. Women know that society and the law are on their side. They can get away with exploiting a male or placing a totally made-up allegation against him that can get the man fired. The point is, men have a lot more to lose than women in the workplace. A man will lose his whole identity, his means of earnings, and his value in society if a woman falsely accuses him and gets him fired. But a woman doesn't have that much to lose. In fact, A woman will instead sue the organization if it fires her, and she will probably end up earning millions in a legal battle that will show her as the victim. I do believe that women and men can both achieve great things and add similar value to organizations. Yes. But women commonly adhere to their own nature and bring it into the culture at the workplace. You must have heard of someone being falsely accused of misogyny or some sort of harassment allegation who got fired from his job and could never recover financially because no other company would hire him. That's right. Men have started to avoid women in the workplace because they know one call to the human resources manager from a woman can potentially make them lose their source of income and reputation. Men are afraid they're going to get fired. Another study that was conducted to evaluate the effects and consequences of the Me Too movement found that men are becoming noticeably less willing to approach their female peers in the workplace. Why? Well, the main reason is that they just don't want to be in a situation where they're framed for any sort of allegations against them by the women. They don't want to lose their jobs over some women. And it's pretty easy for women to have a man fired from his job these days. It's just one email, call, or conversation away from human resources and senior management. God forbid if a woman even alleges untruly that a guy harassed her at work. That man will lose his job, any chance of getting another employment in the future, along with his reputation and self-esteem. That is the enormous advantage that women have over men at work. Therefore, it should come as no surprise that 21% of men said they would be reluctant to hire a woman for a job that needs an intimate connection, like traveling for business. 19% of the males responded that they would be reluctant to hire a woman who was deemed attractive by social norms. The reality is that men would rather work more freely with other men. This only serves to demonstrate how increasingly wary males have become of women throughout time, especially in the last 10 years, and how much they would prefer to communicate and work with other guys. In cubicles, meetings, and boardrooms, they prefer to work with other males rather than women, because they can share information, talk about ideas, and organize their schedules together. This is due to their fear of losing the career they have worked so hard to build over a long period of time. They may lose everything with just one unfounded accusation. In a society that primarily takes into account and believes what women say, one false charge could end up being the villain. In every movie you see, regardless of how recent or how old it is, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or the most attractive man, who is incapable of wrongdoing and who works to uphold justice in society. The evil men and villains are always aged, gorgeous, scarred people who look awful. It should therefore come as no surprise that neither men nor women would want to consider hiring attractive women, because if a woman made a false complaint against a man, everyone would assume that she was telling the truth. Everyone can see a guy trying to flirt with a beautiful woman. That is how it has always been. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.